I've been asked, how do I keep my home current in any time so I can be ready to go when I'm ready to make a move or just because it feels good?
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.
I'm Yetta Decker.
I'm Leah Dixon.
And we're excited to welcome you to another episode of The Inside Track, where we share ideas, techniques, thoughts, and tools that we all need. We all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we can turn our house into home where our families thrive and we get to live the best life possible. So some of the things that you can do are going to be really inexpensive, and some of them are going to blow the budget.
So on today's show, we're going to go over some of these inexpensive things that you can do for the 2020 vision of your home so it can remain current.
And paint is our first answer. Number one, it's kind of like if you often heard what's important about real estate. Like, what do I have to consider when I want to buy a home? What's like the three most important things? And the answer is location, location, and location. And so this is exactly the same. If we're thinking about what are those the very best three things we can do to get our home ready so it always stays current, it's paint, and paint. Now, having said that, you will want to consider who is going to paint. Have you ever walked into a house? Because I sure have. And they said, I just had it painted. It's done and it's beautiful. And you take a peek around because they're asking you to. Not as a realtor, just as a person visiting. Even me, just as a person visiting. And I take a look, Leah.
And what do you see?
I see some paint on the ceiling. Yeah. And then I see some paint on the hardwood floor or the carpet, or what should be on the baseboard is on the wall. And so the who is really important when we're talking about this inexpensive thing. So it's really inexpensive to go buy a gallon of paint. That's like as inexpensive as it gets, except if you have to have somebody back in to repaint it because you're not meant to, I'm not meant to be a painter. Artists maybe play around with pastels or play around with oils, and when it comes to actually doing it on the walls, no.
So having a paint party isn't always a great idea, is it?
We've done some. Yeah, I can remember one we did that it was for Candace actually, after she bought her first home when she was 20 years old. She said, I'm ready because I do not want to be paying rent at home. Have you charged your kids rent? Well, we did. And what it created was them to say, bye-bye, I'm going to invest in real estate. Not a bad idea.
It's a great idea.
So for her 20th birthday, she bought her first house. And it needed painting. It was just tired. There was nothing terribly wrong, but it wasn't trendy. It wasn't a 20-year-old's house. So she decided to have a paint party because she didn't have money to paint and she was not a good painter herself. She's gotten a little bit better over the years. And so she had a paint party. And Ken is actually a really good painter. He's meticulous. He's detailed. He does very good edging at the ceiling. And so he got coat one done in a particular room. And then he walked out of the room or had to head. I think he had to head and couldn't stay. So somebody at the paint party said, I'd do it for you. And he came back and he cried.
Oh, no.
Because that person she always painted her own homes, but she shouldn't have been painting Candace's. So it really is important, the quality of the finish, right? The fit and finish. What else is important when we're talking paint?
The color.
Ah,
yes.
So
the
keeping
color
it
is
current.
very important.
So
yes.
What's important now? What's kind of the in thing currently?
Well, for a while it was gray, but apparently beige is coming back into style.
Which is wild because it was beige.
Exactly.
And then it was
grayish.
A greige was huge.
Yes, yeah.
Which was a beige with a gray.
Exactly. Which is really a beautiful color. And anything neutral is usually a good choice.
Right.
Though apparently black is the new neutral.
Which is wild. I say red is neutral and nobody agrees with me. However, I did decide about a year ago, red is my neutral. So I'm not suggesting you paint it on your walls. It's not on my walls. I think it's a great neutral to accent with.
Oh, I used red. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, we painted one room gray with a red accent wall, and it's absolutely gorgeous.
It is. Yeah. And if you're keeping it current for market, you may say, that's a little over the top.
Absolutely.
Right? Like when we're living. So the amazing thing with paint is if you're living in the space, do as you will, do as you please. It's just if you're looking to keep it kind of trendy or in vogue, then right now we're going to beiges. We're going to actually like a naval blue and even a teal.
Really?
Yeah, that seems to be where it's headed. And the dusty roses, they've been gone for a long time. But the dusty roses and the seafoam greens and the pastels apparently are not so much. Even that beautiful yellow, the goldenrod that was so big, the sort of burnt orange or a burnt brown, those are not current.
Right.
And here's a little bit of a disclaimer. We're talking Ottawa.
So how does that change things?
Well, in California, there may be very different. In a hot, sunny climate, it may be very different as to what's currently trendy.
Right.
I think there's some themes that carry across. And we're talking real estate Ottawa because that's what we know best.
Right.
Right. So our experience and our research is based primarily Ottawa and area within an hour and a half of here. So what about ceilings? Painting my ceilings?
Well, if you have those popcorn ceilings, oftentimes you want to take that down, add a little bit of water and sand them down and get some nice white paint up on your ceiling. If your popcorn ceiling has been painted, that's a different story.
That's a big honking deal.
Yes. Then it makes it a little bit difficult to be taking that popcorn ceiling down.
Right. So your trick is grab a spray bottle with water, and in a corner that's kind of inconspicuous, maybe in a closet where you can actually access a little bit of the popcorn, as long as the color of the closet ceiling is the same as the color in the room. Because if you ever notice, sometimes ceilings in closets or closets themselves don't get painted. The closet's still dusty rose, but the room is a nice grayish. Yeah, that could happen too. And so I would just make sure that where you're testing is an area that looks the same as the rest of the room. And put a little bit of water on the ceiling. Take a putty knife and scrape. If it doesn't easily, after a couple of minutes of being wet, fall off kind of onto the floor, then you'll know the ceiling has been painted. So there your options are. Yeah, you could sand it. You're going to want to wear some masks. You're probably going to want everybody else to move out and recognize you're going to be there for a long time. Or you can re-drywall the ceiling. You are going to have to, even if you scrape it down, you're going to have to do a fair bit of mudding and cleaning up. Adding some pot lights in that case looks really good because now you're making it very contemporary.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And it is a very big job. I did tackle it in my last home, and it took a lot longer than what you would expect it to.
Right. And yet it's a great way to make you look current, feel current, and your house stay on track. So I didn't know how to paint. I didn't even know what to paint. I just knew I had to paint. We're grateful to be your partners in building wealth through real estate.
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam.